Order. Good afternoon. I am Michelle Cummings Steele, Chair of the Board. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll move to the appeal of decisions pursuant to the provisions of 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws. Please take notice that decisions of the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for review under a common law writ of certiorari. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the board. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. Consideration of the minutes. Have you all had an opportunity to read the minutes of our September meeting?
I have a move approval.
Thank you so much. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Director Odom, are there any referrals from council members present?
None today, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll move now to public comment. The public comment period is limited to 20 minutes total. Persons wishing to provide comment on matters that are germane to items on the agenda must sign up prior to the beginning of the meeting on the sign-up sheet provided. Today, we have Albert Bender, who has signed up for public comment. Hello, Mr. Bender.
Hello, how are you today?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Well, same here. My name is Albert Bender, and I am Cherokee and also a retired attorney and an author, community activist, and historian. And I am here particularly today because I am quite anxious to hear the presentation by Bob Mendez on the update on the East Bank. And I have to hearken back that myself and other members of the indigenous community met with Mr. Mendez on January the 12th at the Metro Courthouse, at which time we expressed a desire to be included, to have representation on the East Bank Authority so that indigenous concerns could be addressed. Since that time, to our disappointment, Mr. Mendez has been loath to communicate with us. So again, I am really very anxious to hear what Bob has to say. I also want to announce that within the Indigenous Peoples Coalition, of which I am chair, we have formed another committee. The name of that committee is the Ad Hoc Indigenous East Bank Authority Committee, which will have as its purpose to communicate further with Bob and the East Bank Authority. And keeping in mind that the East Bank has beneath it the remains of a huge indigenous city that existed 1,000 years ago that had over 400,000 inhabitants, in which Nashville, contemporary modern-day Nashville, sits on top of. And again, I am quite anxious to hear Mr. Mendez's comments in terms of an update on an area that is of intense concern to the indigenous community.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Bender. We will now move to old business. 0924-09, staff requests approval of a dedicated conservation greenway easement on property at 2600 Pennington Bend Road, parcel 062-0000-1200. This greenway easement will conserve 0.37 acres of open space and provide for future expansion of the Cumberland River Greenway network. The easement dedication was a condition of Metro Council's approval of preliminary 2022 SP 047001 for a new residential development. This is Council District 15. The Acquisition Committee met this morning. Commissioner Henley, is there a recommendation from the committee?
Yes, the committee recommends the staff request for approval.
Thank you so much. I'll accept a second to the report. Thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you so much. We'll move now to 0924-10. Staff requests approval of a dedicated conservation greenway easement on property at 0 Maxwell Road, parcel 176-000004900. This greenway easement will conserve 1.86 acres of open space and provide for future expansion of the Hurricane Creek Greenway. The easement dedication is provided via the Metropolitan subdivision regulations. This is Council District 8. The Acquisition Committee met this morning. Commissioner Henley, is there a recommendation from the committee?
And yes, the committee also recommended approval, and I'd like to make a motion that we accept the recommendation.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. We'll move now to the consent agenda and take it in its entirety. There is an addition to the consent agenda. Director Odom.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We have a late consent agenda item. It is the Tennessee Beer and Wine Festival, October 19th, 2024. The request is for alcohol amplification and fundraising on the campus of grounds of Two Rivers Mansion. Again, October 19th from 11 to 5 p.m.
Thank you so much. Hearing the late addition, we'll take this again in its entirety. I'll accept a motion.
I move
Second.
approval, including the addition.
With the addition. Thank you so much. And we have a second from Commissioner Henley. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. We're moving now to new business, 10-24-02. Staff requests approval for submission and ultimate acceptance of the USTA tennis hosting grant in the amount of $900. The Community Recreation Division hosted 3 community-wide events as part of a July Parks and Recreation Community Project Award. This is in Council District 21. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
I'll accept a motion. Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. 10-24-03, Vanderbilt Sigma Nu and Kappa Gamma request permission to host a charity pickleball tournament at the Centennial Sportsplex Pickleball Courts to raise funds for Special Olympics Tennessee. The proposed tournament will be held on October 20th, 2024 from 4 to 8 p.m. utilizing 4 pickleball courts. This is Council District 21. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
All righty, we'll accept a motion.
So move.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. We move now to special presentations. Mr. Bob Mendez, Chief Development Officer, Office of Mayor Freddie O'Connell, to present the East Bank Development update to the board, and you have 7 minutes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to move quickly through the slides in 7 minutes. Thanks to all of you for your service on the board. This is the O'Connell administration has been in office for a year. When we came in, we were handed an RFP for the East Bank that was 1 day old and had to negotiate a development agreement, and we've been hard at work at that for the last year, and this is an update about where things are at. First, a little bit about background. The planning department wrapped up a couple of years ago in October of 22 the Imagine East Bank Vision Plan, and this area that it covered that we call the East Bank, we're used to either driving by at 75 miles an hour on the interstate or 2 miles an hour on the interstate, but not very often actually go to the area. There are 0 permanent residents in this entire 550 acres right now. No permanent addresses there. The 550 acres shown here has historically been a lot of floodplain, which is why nothing terribly big has been built there. So a big part of what we're trying to do is make sure when it gets built that we don't reduce the water storage capacity overall of the East Bank, and we're pretty confident we can get that done. sorry, one other thing about this, just again for size and scale, from one end of this to the other is the same as if you started at Bridgestone Arena and walked here. That's basically the size and scope. So when the maps show different neighborhoods and different possible developments, imagine you're starting at Bridgestone Arena and you get through downtown and then almost Midtown and almost Vanderbilt and then Centennial Park. That's the size and scale of what we're talking about over here in the long run. For the first time in the history of Metro, we've got two massive Metro-owned projects immediately next to each other, and we've never had that before. Shown here is the football stadium in the middle. That's a $2.1 billion project. And then excluding what's marked here in orange as Station East, the rest of what we've got there is the 30 acres that's subject to the development agreement we got through the council last year, and that will also be multiple billions of dollars worth of development. This is important because Metro is used to having one very big project by itself. Here we're trying to make sure that stadium doesn't step on development and development doesn't step on stadium, because Metro is, and the taxpayers are the owners of both. A little more about size and scale is think about the entire Gulch as 60 acres compared to the entire East Bank, which is 550 acres. The Gulch has been under construction for a quarter century already, and there's still cranes up and there's still developable parcels in the Gulch. So when we think about the entirety of the East Bank, it's definitely generational at a minimum. And even the 30 acres of the Fallon development, that's half a Gulch. Another data point is Nashville Yards, the old Lifeway campus, is about 20 acres. They've been under construction for about 10 years on that 20 acres, and by all accounts, they're going very quickly. So when we think about this 30 acres, whether we compare it to 20 acres for Nashville Yards or 60 for the Gulch, it's going to be a few minutes before it gets developed. And importantly, as I'll get to in a few slides, the park space, the green space, almost certainly has to come later in the project, not at the beginning of the project. We can do planning for it at the front end, but making it operational green space will be later, not sooner. Let's see if clicker, a little stuck on the clicker here. Okay, did I skip? No, there we go. For the 30 acres, we're focusing on neighborhood. That Imagine East Bank plan from 2 years ago from planning called for neighborhood. We all value our tourism district, but almost nobody in Nashville wants a tourism district to hop the river. What we heard is we want a neighborhood over there. So all the incentives that we put in for Fallon and the master development agreement are to build residential units so we can have people and have a neighborhood. You can see here on the slide the minimum number of units that we want residential. And I want to mention that every development agreement that we do on the East Bank and the O'Connell administration will have a requirement for phase one archaeology work. And a lot of us are familiar with phase one environmental, but phase one archaeology is the same thing, looking to see what could be there. And this Metro's got a experience with that. Before the old Sound Stadium was slated for development, phase one archaeology was done there and determined that there was Civil War remnants of the African-American formerly enslaved person encampment outside the fort, literally underneath the outfield of Fort Negley. And y'all have been doing great work in getting that plan to be appropriately respectful of what's there. We believe, because this has historically been floodplain and the entire East Bank has had a union shipyard, shoe factories, it's been all sorts of uses over the years. There has been phase one archaeological work done in other parts of the East Bank and not noted anything that required further investigation. But in abundance of caution, anything that Fallon does for us or any future development agreements that Metro does, there will be phase one archaeology to confirm or not confirm that what's under the ground there. Again, for the 30 acres, just sort of reminder that it's going to happen in phases over a number of years. And this is just to build the actual buildings. There are reasons that we expect the green space to take longer. And to get into that, here's a conceptual image of what planning department thought a couple of years ago might look like. So this was, they reminded us, consistently conceptual, and no plan withstands actual reality. So some of the things in reality that we have to deal with that aren't shown on this. One, we have to make the stormwater work first, most and foremost. We're all accustomed to development being done one parcel at a time to handle its own stormwater. With this being near the river, that will never work. We're treating the entire area as what we're calling district stormwater. And so from that perspective, the green space will be an important part of doubling as resiliency and floodwater capacity should we have a major rain event. So stormwater and park space and green space have to be thought of in tandem on the East Bank. Also, the conceptual images imagine away the oil facilities that are along the river. In reality, having the oil facilities go away is not a snap of the fingers. It's going to take a while. We believe that we're on a trajectory to eventually get to the removal of the oil facilities, but that's not going to be very quickly. And then the CSX tracks also don't appear on any of the conceptual plans that the planning department put out. And most notably, the CSX tracks serve one customer on the East Bank at this point, the PSC scrapyard. And so, and I'm sure we all read the news that may be for sale by auction soon. But going forward, we would need a scrapyard to be gone. We would need CSX, who doesn't have to do business with us, to transfer the tracks to us, and the tracks would have to be removed. And all those things need to happen to make the waterfront green space ever come into reality. And again, just I'm belaboring none of this stuff is springing from the earth tomorrow. It's going to take a while to get through all this. The mobility plan does rely on having green space and bikeways. One of the substantial challenges we have, well, there's two substantial challenges we have that implicate what the green space will end up looking like. And one of them is on the image on the left, you can see in the middle of the image shown the East Bank Boulevard. That is intended to be a multimodal road with buses, and it will stay open through stadium events at all times, no matter what. Some of the other roads, like 2nd Street above there, closer to the new stadium, will be closed for stadium events. And so East Bank Boulevard will stay open the whole time. That will pose a pedestrian challenge in getting people in and out of the football stadium. And so to solve that, the idea is to have the pedestrian bridge be reworked to go over East Bank Boulevard, unlike the steep decline when you cross the river now. That creates a separate issue by extending the pedestrian bridge, and that is that how do you get people from the pedestrian bridge 40-some feet in the air, shown here on the image on the right, down to the riverfront. And so we need to do both. We need to get people over the East Bank Boulevard for getting in and out of the stadium and into the neighborhood we're building, and we need to get people off the bridge down to riverfront. Now I'm gonna, like the next couple slides, like this is conceptual, it's early, it's not set in stone, but we feel like it's appropriate for you guys to hear where we're at as far as how we might get people off the pedestrian bridge down to the riverfront once it's extended. This image shows what how it'll get over the boulevard. Like right now, the pedestrian bridge, you can see it coming over the river at the far left of the image near where it says Music City Mile. And instead of coming down to grade at about where the circle is that says Music City Mile, it will extend about a quarter mile or so further. So it goes over the boulevard and lands people on the other side closer to the football stadium in the neighborhood. And then this is another image that shows, instead of the pedestrian bridge coming down near Cumberland Park like it does now, that it would be extended through the neighborhood and come down on the other side of the East Bank Boulevard. This image shows, and I challenged my team to see how many times we could put draft on here, just to illustrate the point that this is a draft. Nobody is running out and doing this, but these are the best ideas we have now about how we'll get people from 40 feet in the air on the pedestrian bridge down to the riverfront. And each of them involves some form of a ramp or a spiral, or the one in the middle we are calling the paperclip. We're not sure exactly what it's going to be, but these are all ways that we would get people down the 40 feet. And importantly, as part of the effort to overall expand the green space along the river and for the entirety of the East Bank, we may need some of the space in Cumberland Park in order to accomplish that for the overall good. And again, conceptual draft. These are additional images of how it could interrelate with the park that's there now. And we think this would be great. People right now, when they come over the bridge, either on foot or on bike, hit a steep decline that is frankly not ADA compliant. We stay ADA compliant by virtue of the stairs and the elevator that's there, but the decline is too steep for comfort. And this would not only get people over the East Bank Boulevard, but have a way with a gentler slope that is more manageable, have people on bikes or on foot get down to the current riverfront. And again, these are, to just be real frank, images that aren't really ready for prime time, other than the fact that we know you all have some things under consideration regarding Cumberland Park. And we wanted you to have this information while you consider other things about Cumberland Park. So that is the slides. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much for your time and for being here. We gave you a little bit more time. Did you catch it? Did you catch it?
I did. Thank you.
Thank you, too, for addressing some of Mr. Bender's comments as it relates to the archaeological assessment, having possibly been already completed, but in an abundance of caution to do that again. Thank you for that. Related to the advisory council for the East Bank, I know there's a process for persons to apply for through the mayor's office to apply for position on boards and commissions, and so I'm wondering if there will be a process for this where people can apply, and when will that process open, or is it already open?
Sure. So the East Bank Development Authority is not advisory.
Okay.
It is an authority,
Mm-hmm.
Like the Sports Authority, like the Convention Center Authority, like the Airport Authority. The law passed by the state and by the Metro Council makes it a 9-member authority, 2 members appointed by people at the state level, so we have no control over that. 2 appointed by the council. The council is making nominations this evening at their council meeting, so if somebody is interested in being one of the council nominees, they should call a council member before 6:30 tonight when the meeting starts. And then there's 5 appointments for the mayor to make, not subject to council approval, just the mayor will make the appointments. We've been focusing on the bigger picture governance issues and haven't made any choices or started a process. It's not, anybody who's interested is welcome to email me at bob.mendez@nashville.gov to get their name on the list for consideration. And then at some point, I expect by Thanksgiving, end of the year, the mayor will make his appointments. And then just following that through a little bit more. So the authority is going to exist, but as of today, it has 0 board members, no CEO, no assets, no staff, no operating cash. So coming in the first quarter of next year, approximately, after we get a board appointed, we'll have to have an agreement like Metro often does with the Sports Authority, between the East Bank Development Authority and Metro to set up the mechanisms for it to have whatever assets, staff, operating cash it's going to have. And a big part of why we haven't pushed forward on the mayor's appointments yet is we want to figure out the architecture of that first.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And so in response to the public comment, there are ways to be involved on that authority. Emailing Bob Mendez is one of those options, as well as the Metro Council, who will take this up this evening. I'll yield my time. Are there other questions regarding the East Bank development? I do have another question.
Sure.
So, operation and management of green space is always a priority of ours as it relates to what Metro Parks, what the department is responsible for. And so, whose authority will it be to maintain the park?
So that's a work in progress. And what I've indicated to Director Odom is, especially as it gets closer to the new stadium, and I want to just issue a quick disclaimer, the O'Connell administration inherited this deal.
Absolutely.
As it gets closer to the football stadium, the demands on the green space are going to be intense. And the football stadium deal that got approved before in the last administration give the football team substantial rights to program the main green space between the stadium and the river. And because of those rights for the team to program the space when the stadium is in use, because of the intensity of it, we're committed to not leaving the Parks Department hanging with a big fat expense that is hard to fit in with other maintenance of your voluminous green space. So we don't know what exactly the answer is, but we're intent to not just build something with super intensive uses and other people programming it and say, oh, y'all take care of it. So I'm not sure what it's going to look like. It's possible that the East Bank version of a business improvement district, whereas downtown, the business improvement district focuses on cleaning streets and things like that. It could be that on the East Bank, a business improvement district collects funds that may be able to deal with that extra burden for the green space. There's multiple ways to do it. And part of this, it's going to take a while thing is, I think in my mind, this is a question that if we have it figured out 24 months from now, I'll feel like we're well on track.
Okay.
So we're thinking about it, and I want to let the board and Director Odom know no intention of leaving you guys with a really hard puzzle and no funds to take care of it, and work in progress.
Okay.
My question is, are there opportunities already planned for public engagement and public feedback, or is that dependent on the authority getting set up?
Yeah, it's a good question. For the, so far, and it might be a little bit different as we get more years down the road, but so far we're focusing on that October of 22, the first slide, the Imagine East Bank vision plan. We have used that as a guiding principle, and that was literally national award-winning public engagement by our planning department, where they went to DC and collected awards for it. I don't know how many thousands of engagements there were. So for this last year, we've been focused on, we've got the public comment, we've got the what the vision is, we're building to the vision. It's now 2 years old. I don't think it's dated. We'll hit some point when it is dated, and we'll have to make sure we get continuing public feedback. But for now, we're focused on, there was a massive public engagement process, and we're trying to build to the plan.
So let me continue in that vein, though. We have before us a request to change the name of the Cumberland Park to Wasiota, and so there's a lot of engagement around that, and so kind of the thought process of taking the park back, kind of thing. And so the how you move people, was that a part? Is that a new thought, or was that because it now, in my mind, it impacts the park, and so will there be a need for more engagement around that piece in the way that it?
I'm
just
sorry.
thinking through that. And my question is not completely formulated, but I just thought about that.
I'm sure you all remember the cherry tree incident for the NFL draft.
Yes. I was in the mayor's office.
So 8-9 months ago, when the football stadium was about to break ground, there was inside, Metro, there was a lot of hand wringing of, oh my God, if the NFL draft and 5 cherry trees created political crisis, what's going to happen when we take down 150 trees to build a football stadium? And one of my points internally was, we've seen the vision plan. It's got 7-10 times as many trees as there are now. Right now, it's asphalt parking lot. Like, the reality is, most of the trees on the East Bank over a 20-year time period are going away. And it's for the greater vision of building the new East Bank. Anything that's on the East Bank, let me say it the other way around, nothing that's in that 130 acres that Metro owns that is mostly parking lot, stadium, or the small park around the river, none of it is being considered sacred for where we want to go. Now, again, like when it comes to renaming the park, the mayor and the East Bank team not going to take a position on it. These ramps and the fact that we have to get people from 40 feet in the air, and on one side of the bridge is the bridge building. I suppose we're not going to demo the bridge building. That leaves the other side where the park is. We've had lots and lots of consultants figuring out all the options. That's where it needs to be. And it's not really ready for prime time. It's draft. But because you guys are considering the other item, what I challenge myself is, while we're not going to take a position on it, why is it bothering me? And what I concluded was, well, because I know that some of the park space is going to have to be used for pedestrian, and right now that's a greenway. It's, it goes from one version of park space to extension of the greenway for people to get around. And if everybody hears that and knows there's a pile more green space coming eventually, and like absolutely right now, it's rename it or bust. It just, nobody can be surprised when we come back, a year from now with a fully baked plan to have a ramp there. It's really, the idea is to give you guys full information about what the plan is while you consider the other. But clearly, the past of this land requires acknowledgement. I know you guys have created Atafama Park. I know we're currently pricing actually going forward on Atafama Park, where there's an actual archaeological site with actual village. It's up to y'all what you want to do about the renaming.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the update. Really good information. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Anything else on the board? Good? Okay. Thank you. Moving now to Friends of Metro Parks Disabilities and Magic Program to present an annual update to the board.
Hello, I'm Karen Summer. I'm the president of the Friends Board, and thank you for having me here today. First thing I wanted to do was thank the parks, and in particular Director Odom, for your support for the program. This past year, we've been able to grow the program from 5 centers from 2 centers. We have 126 weekly day participants. We have 75 participants every week participating in the sports program. And important to me is we had a wait list a year ago of over 250 people that wanted to be in this program, and that wait list has been decreased to 126 participants now. The Friends Group supplements the budget that is provided by the parks, and we just kind of fill in the gaps. And for instance, this past year, we paid for an internet upgrade, and that allowed us to have some of our classes have a virtual presence. We actually started this during COVID when we weren't meeting, and we've continued to have virtual classes because of our internet. We've also funded American Sign Language instruction and a performance that was done at Father Ryan High School. We even had some local media attention for that. We've also paid for power wheelchairs for our power soccer league. There aren't enough chairs in Nashville, so excuse me, bad timing. So we paid to have the chairs from the Knoxville group transported down here. We've also covered the expenses of our Fall Pumpkin Festival. We've covered fees for ice skating lessons, cake decorating lessons, and importantly, the Eventbrite subscriptions so that everyone can know what activities are upcoming. Looking ahead, what we want to do, first and foremost, is to continue to support the mission of the Disabilities Program and provide opportunities for more individuals. And that is our number one priority. We are also supporting the staff as they look to develop a comprehensive arts program that will complement the already superb sports and day programs. And that's all I have, unless you all want something more specific.
Thank you so much for your time today. Are there any questions from the board? Alrighty, seeing none, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll move now to Friends of Metro Dance to present an annual update to the board.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Balfour, and I'm the president of Friends of Metro Dance Board, and I'm here to give you your annual update. Friends of Metro Dance has been around since 1995. Our mission is to enhance the art of dance in the Metro community and enrich the programming of the Metro Parks Division and encourage the growth of dancers of all ages and abilities through funding and volunteerism. Friends of Metro Dancers is proud to support high-quality dance education in the public sector to students and families from diverse backgrounds, regardless of race, gender identity, body type, socioeconomic status, disability, political, or religious beliefs. Other way? Should I be going across or up and down? Across. Thank you. Thank you. There are currently 11 board members, and they are all volunteers, and they are comprised of men, women, and parents of the dancers, community members, professional dancers, and administrators. They're all working towards the goal of providing quality dance education and experiences in Nashville. We do subcommittees for volunteer work, fundraising, for finance and legal, and promotional things through the social media. We value dance, and so these are some of the quotes from our family members and others that attend the classes in Metro. One that I'm going to highlight is our Dancing with Parkinson participant, who stated that the class is always uplifting and that she loves to dance, stretch, and the music that is provided, and dancing makes her happy. And so that's one that we do that we're very proud of. There's a total of 65 classes that are offered weekly. 45 are for children, youth, and teens, and various dance types. And we have 20 adult classes, which include the West African, ballet, contemporary, dance fit, dancing with Parkinson's, folk dance, gyrokinesis, integrative dance, modern, Pilates, strength and stretch, and Tai Chi. So there's no reason we shouldn't see all of you at some point. So these classes are also offered at various locations such as the Centennial Performing Arts Studios, which I will continue to call CPAS, Centennial Art Center Courtyard, Sevier, McCabe, and we have workshops at Hartman and Coleman. Some of the performances that we do each year are Mini Nutcracker, our spring concert, and Anamana Arts residency performances. And this weekend we're going to be at the Celebrate Nashville Cultural Festival in Centennial Park. And also there was a Nashville Dance Collective that's going to be from November 9th through 10th at CPAS. And we also do other performances throughout the year too, as we come across them. We currently have 7 dance residencies, 3 for Anamata Arts, New Dialect, Damosa, Chinese Arts Alliance of Nashville, and Pi Dance. Last year, for our fiscal year, we had a total of 20,505 participants, and that includes classes, audience, rehearsals, etc. So it is always our goal, Friends of Metro Dance, to support the dance classes that are taught by Metro Dance and to advocate for increasing the availability of the dance public. And I will just point out our teachers who are here today. So in 2023 and 2024, we had initiatives that every year we have some, but last year we worked on Anamata Arts residencies where 4 artists presented. We provided them with free dedicated dance rehearsal space at CPAS. Each of the artists received $1,000 stipend. We provided professional film and photo documentation for each of them. And we had a feedback lab, which was basically the feedback on their choreography. And we had 2 performances for them to perform in. So we also support the African Nashville project, and this is a partnership that allows individuals from West Africa to come to the United States, and they have provided African dance and drum for seniors at Hadley Lillard, performance demonstrations for senior programs at East Elizabeth and Southeast Centers, and they also provided enhanced community classes at Sevier and Coleman. And we plan on supporting these initiatives again. So we also have summer intensives. Summer intensives are very expensive at various places, but we are lucky to be able to provide it for only $450 compared to $1,600 plus room, board, travel expenses for other intensives. And we also have financial scholarships available for the students. We bring in nationally, internationally renowned teaching artists, which share a wide breadth of their experience and expertise. So students take a range of classes, which you see up there. We'll just name a few: classical, modern, jazz, partnering, which is what you see in the picture. That's where the students are able to invite somebody to come out and be their partner, and they learn how to work with a partner. Pilates, yoga, and all different types of styles of folk dance too. And at the end of each of the sessions, they do basically a showcase of what they've learned. So that's part of our audience count. So we have a National Honor Society for the Dance Arts chapter. And last year we were able to induct 3 new students into that chapter. And this year they created goodie welcome bags for the new students to come in. So when they came in, they had a cute little bag. We also give them Honor Society pins and graduation cords, which are presented at each spring concert. We also are concerned about their health and physical therapy, so we have a partnership with local dance therapists that provide them with free physical therapy consultations and point readiness assessments to make sure that they are ready with their bodies and they know what's too much for them, so we don't want them to get injured. Some of the big things that we do around Mini Nutcracker, Friends of Metro Dance purchases costume supplies, set pieces, and props. We hire the technical director, guest choreographers, and performers, and we provide lots of volunteer support. If you want to bake some cookies, let me know. So we have our National High School Dance Festival is a festival that occurs each year. We just started doing it 2 years ago. We're going to continue on this pathway. The festival has master classes, scholarship auditions, recruitment fairs, performances, and a gala. Last year we took 15 students. This year we're going to take 21 students with us. And the students have received in the past scholarship offers from $88,000 and above combined. So it's been a very good experience for them. They are in charge of fundraising. They do fundraising for themselves, and then Friends of Metro Dance pays for all of the registration fees. And so in total, after we combine all those fees, the students actually only pay $150, and that includes their travel, registration, and hotel. We are seeking sponsorships for that. Volunteers in action, we couldn't do it without our volunteers. We're all volunteers, basically, in the whole organization. We use approximately 500 hours for the Mini Nutcracker, 75 hours for a spring concert. Last year was a very different year for us at Mini Nutcracker. On the morning of opening night, we were informed that we were not going to be able to use Harpeth Hall's performance space because it was deemed unfit for participation. So we had to quickly shift, which was wonderful because a call was put out, and in 30 minutes, there were so many parents and supporters at that location moving all of the set things to the gymnasium, where we continue to have the most magnificent performance of Mini Nutcracker ever known. It was an open audience. You missed it. Hopefully we have that on film. Yes, we do. We have that on film. Go to our website and you can purchase that for for viewing. But it was a wonderful experience to see everybody come together. So we do provide scholarship fund. Last year we did $64,063 for 13 students and 11 families. This money is used for tuition and dance attire. And we also have a performance point shoe fund. Our point shoes cost about $150, and the performers go through 3 to 5 pairs at a time. So Friends of Metro Dance will provide them a pair of performance shoes for each dancer. That's our fundraising. Clearly my time is running out. So I want to just talk about a few things on our future plans. So we are planning on continuing, to partner with the new Tennessee Performing Arts Center. We want to be able to secure a location for our performances for Mini Nutcracker, because Harpeth Hall, while it holds pretty much the biggest size that any location in our budget will hold, we're outgrowing it. We have a major long wait list, and we need a more viable location to perform with our students everywhere. So we're hoping to be able to be in communication with that. We would like for our dance division to be involved with that. And then we also, of course, would like to be in partnership with the development of the cultural arts. One of the biggest issues we have right now is parking. We don't have space for our students. People, even though we have big signs and everything, people still park there. And it's very difficult and dangerous for our students to have to walk long distances in that park at night to get back to their home. So we're hoping to have our drop-off and pickup area replaced, as it was removed during the last renovation, and additional parking would be great. The rest of that is general. We want to say thank you. This is a big one for us. Last year, we mentioned some safety issues that we had, and some of them were addressed, and we are forever grateful. So our conservancy actually provides us with some funding for security. So we had off-duty police officers last year, and we are still working with them, and we want to make sure that this stays on the forefront of everybody at Metro Parks, because we feel like that's something that we need in that area, is more security. And while the Conservancy is helping us support it, it does not cover the whole year. So we would like more information on that, more support on that. And the inability to lock the doors was very serious, but we now have the locks that you can buzz them in. So we have an intercom system, so we feel more secure in our building, and that is major. But fire safety is very big to me. I'm a proponent of making sure that all fire safety measures are in place, and we have a problem with our emergency doors. The exits do not open easily, they do not close securely easily. And so that is a fire issue, and we would love if we could get some assistance with that. And that's it. Thank you so much. Any questions or concerns?
Thank you so much for your time today. I know that the department has made some requests on your behalf, and we will continue to do those and make those requests, especially as it relates to security. The space at Harpeth Hall, I am not familiar with it. Is there an equivalent in Metro schools?
No. The closest was Lawson, and it's not.
Okay. Just thinking about what we have available to us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other questions? All righty. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
We will move now to capital projects update. You all have a written report. You have that before you. Are there, if you have any questions, we can have those now on capital projects. We also have the Greenways and Open Space update as a written report. You have that before you. If there are any questions. Thank you for providing those, assistant directors. We'll move now to upcoming special activities and events with Jackie Jones.
Good afternoon, everybody. Well,
afternoon.
'Tis the season for Halloween, that is. I want to strongly encourage all of you to go to any of our community centers, I'd say probably the last week in October, and observe what this staff does for children and families that are a part of the community centers for Halloween. It is quite something to see. So I just wanted to say that. Obviously, we have a lot of community centers, so I didn't want to list each and every event, but all of the community centers will have something for Halloween. This Friday, October 4th, we have the ribbon cutting to celebrate the grand opening of a newly realigned segment of the Cumberland River Greenway. The new segment is located behind the outfield of the Nashville Sounds ballpark. So I want to encourage you all, if you have the time, to come out and help us celebrate and cut the ribbon. Celebrate Nashville runs from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday, October 5th in Centennial Park. As many of you know, this festival is one of the largest festivals we have in the park, and one of the most unique in that it honors the diversity of cultures that we have in our city. Now, prior to the actual festival on Saturday, the Centennial Arts Center will host the gallery opening of the International Arts Exhibit from 5 to 7:30 on Friday, October 4th. So that's another event you'll want to attend. On Friday, October 11th, we have the 46th Annual Tennessee Fall Craft Fair in Centennial Park. That event runs from Friday through Sunday. On Saturday, October 19th, we have Dog Day Fest in Centennial Park also. That particular event runs from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and is sponsored by the Nashville Humane Society. We have Jazz on the Cumberland. It's scheduled, and it's the last Jazz on the Cumberland concert is scheduled for Sunday, October 20th in Cumberland Park. And on Sunday, October 27th, Friends of Warner Park will host the 35th annual Sunday at the Park at Ridgefield in Edwin Warner Park. And that event is a fundraiser for Friends of Warner Park. Questions?
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
We'll move now to the report of the director, Director Odom.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. First off, thank you to all of you, Park Board members who attended our community input meeting for the request to rename Cumberland Park last week. I think it was time well spent, and lots of good input and insight at that meeting. And just so that everyone knows, there will be a second opportunity for public input in person November 5th at the Parks Board meeting, regular Parks Board meeting. Our kickoff, we had a kickoff last week for the CAL, that's Community Asset and Land Use software that will digitize asset management and work orders for us here in Metro Parks. This is a long time coming. I didn't really remember how long, but I have been, it's been kind of at the top of my list for about 7 years now, and we are here and glad that our partners at Metro IT and our vendor partner, KCI, is leading us through this process, and met with members of our maintenance team, planning, and other folks on our team here to kind of get input about what we needed to see the system do. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll lead to many more efficiencies for us here. Certainly, as I mentioned, tracking assets in the department, but also in terms of productivity and work. For those who are in the field, we'll be able to digitize that again, and then it will be transparent for all of us to be able to see at the same time. So I'm really excited about that, and want to say, give a word of appreciation for all of our team who have sat through those input sessions over the past week. I really appreciate your time and attention for that. We met with OMB and reps from the mayor's office last week to discuss the FY25 capital spending plan. We talked about ongoing projects, and department priorities. So look forward to seeing a roster of proposed projects to be funded. I'll share that with you when we get to that point. We're still in a round of question and answer. So very productive process. We have 2 new employees. One has started, I think, and one will come to us in the Finance and Administration Division. I mentioned that because that's one of our smaller divisions, but it is a support service division that supports the entire department. And if we are missing even one staff person from that division, it's can be challenging. So I'm excited to see that division fully staffed. We hosted the United Against Hate Day of Action at Luby Community Center that included youth from Luby Community Center and Hartman Community Center. This event was sponsored by Council Member Zulfat Swara and really sought to give back and counter some of the hateful rhetoric that's happened in our community. Really wanted to counter that with love, as she put it. We had visits from the Titans, Predators, and Nashville SC at that event. It was very successful. And Councilmember Zulfat Swara partnered with our department, and we're glad to support that event. We also had the senior games that were successful the week of September 16th. It was a 4-day friendly competition amongst seniors, that's folks 50 and above, that participated in programs at our hub and satellite senior sites. I'm included in it too, so don't just, okay? Just chill out. It's okay. I'm in the club. The goal of the event strives to keep seniors healthy and active while building camaraderie among each other. It was also designed to have senior leaders work with their seniors at each program throughout the year and encourage the participants, especially the winners, to move on and participate in the Tennessee Senior Olympic Games in Franklin, Tennessee. Listen. We had over 150 participants throughout community centers. They participated in swimming, water walking relay, ping pong and billiards, race walk, that's half mile, bowling, shuffleboard, and then hot shot, free throw, and 3-point contest for basketball. So, very good. And then finally, just as FYI, we have a contingency of folks going to the NRPA conference in Atlanta, October 8th through the 10th. So we're excited about that. I think there's also a virtual option that I will probably participate in too. So with that, that's my report. And anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Are there any persons here who are not seniors?
Yet holding on.
Me too. Yet holding on. Thought it was a while. Thought it was going to be further down. Okay. Are there any announcements, requests for future agenda items, or open items from the board? Yes, Commissioner Cheryl
Just
Mays.
one quick announcement, Madam Chair. Just as a reminder, early voting in Nashville begins October 16th and runs through the 31st. I encourage everyone to get out and go and cast your votes.
And if you have not checked your status, do so by October 7th. Status of your voting record. Any other announcements, questions? Okay, I will accept a motion to adjourn. Thank you. We are adjourned. Have a good day.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.